Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome back to the channel. We're back on iRacing in the Touring Car Challenge, and this week we're at Oran Park South and we've got a bit of a challenge on our hands. Not only is this a very tricky circuit, particularly the short layout, but we've also qualified very badly, as you can see on screen. I compromised both of my flying laps in the qualifying session, and we're going to be starting last of anybody who set a time in the session. There are a couple of drivers who will be further behind us on the grid, but only because they didn't set a lap time at all. So let's get down to the grid, see how we can get on, whether we can fight our way back through the field on a track where overtaking opportunities are extremely limited. Red lights on, getting ready to go green, and we are underway. We get an alright initial launch, but we have bogged down in the second part of the start. That means we're going to have cars either side of us as we barrel down to T1. Look up ahead, it's 3-4 cars wide, heading into the left-hand corner, which really does represent one of the best overtaking spots on the lap, but there is no way through on this opening lap as cars bunching together and just trying to get through unscathed. I've got one car on my outside here. We're going to hug to the apex. He's going to have to give that up because there really isn't room for two cars to go through that right-hander. Look up ahead as cars jostle for position once again. Up the hill, this track really characterised by undulations up and down through medium speed corners where it's really all about carrying momentum. That means running in traffic is particularly challenging because if you get caught up behind somebody or a couple of cars fighting, you can then lose huge amounts of time to the cars behind you and end up under pressure yourself. As we end the first lap then, very short lap time here, around 44 seconds. I'm expecting race pace to be as we barrel into T1 once again, and the two cars coming very close together up ahead. That's going to give us a run around the outside of the car ahead, but we can't make it stick around the right-hander there, the outside of the right-hander, so we're going to have to just hold station for now. Again, try and hit the apex. Oh, but it looks like the car up ahead's got greedy on the gas. He's ran out wide. He's going to be rejoining. We give a little bit of space on the inside, but we had to be brave to make sure that we managed to squeeze our way past. More contact up ahead. It is all kicking off here in a very frantic opening couple of laps. We're going to try and dive down the inside again. Once more, being brave on the accelerator and hoping that we didn't see cars spear across the track. We've got a car down our outside at the moment as we just hug to the inside towards the first corner once again. Yellow flags out. There's more incidents up ahead as one car is rejoining to the right hand side. Wow, this is harum scarum stuff as there are cars making mistakes to the right, to the left and to the centre. We now just spot our braking once again. Try not to slow down too much, but you do need to make the apex on that left hand side there if you're going to be able to get on the gas early enough to then carry momentum through this final section of the track. The pack is still very closely bunched together again here. Cars locking up here as we go up the hill, and one more is round just there on the inside of the corner. We had to take averting action at the very last minute as I didn't see him until we were already coming through the exit of the corner, and it looked for a moment as if he was going to reverse right the way across the track. Once again then into T1. It is such a breathless experience racing here at Oran Park on a packed grid of TCR cars. We very nearly make a big mistake there. We run slightly wide, pick up a 1x for going off track. Thankfully we didn't pay too big a price. If we'd had slightly more of our tyres on the grass there, I think we would have been at risk of losing the car. There is not a lot of grip as soon as you get off the asphalt here at Oran Park. Again, taking a nice tight line through the final corner. You could see cars up ahead struggling with understeer and drifting right out against the wall, compromising their exit to the corner. And again, there's going to be some moves up ahead. We're going to have to just be very careful here to make sure we don't get caught up in anything. Side by side up ahead, that is going to cost the car on our right hand side up ahead that we can see all the way through the rest of this middle section of the lap. They're still side by side. We're a little bit bogged down in behind. We've got movement from behind us. One car dives down our inside. We just see him in the nick of time to give him space in order to get past. A brilliantly opportunistic move there, and we have lost the position rather than being able to gain more positions on the cars up ahead of us. We roll around then to start another lap, and that was a brilliant move from Igor Santos to just dive down our inside as we got stuck behind the cars up ahead, jostling for position. And that is the risk here. If you're not able to position your car to take advantage of those sorts of things, you can very, very easily end up losing out. Let's take a look back then as things have settled down just a little bit at some of those incidents at what was an action-packed opening to this race. You'll see we had to take advantage of that car leaving the track there. We just about judged it right as we gave him enough room to rejoin, but managed to keep our foot in and take the position. Then just a couple of laps later, there was another incident at T1. Cars jostling with each other, and again, look at that, just coming together. Not anticipating that a car up ahead was running more slowly, and this wouldn't be the end of the action for this particular driver as he gets caught up in another incident towards the end of the lap, and that is his race ruined. Here's the incident towards the end of the lap where one driver, just getting it wrong through the final corner, nearly reverses into the oncoming traffic, but in the end manages to rejoin safely. And here's where we lost out to Santos coming up the hill here. We just get caught behind the Honda. We chip to the inside. Thankfully, I just saw him in time in the mirror to give him the space that he needed to squeeze on past, as he had more momentum than we did. And at the end of the day, we lived to fight another day, but one position worse off. We are, though, up into 11th place as we rejoin the live action with 7 minutes gone. Oh, big contact up ahead, though, between Santos and Barbier, as Santos didn't quite anticipate, I think, that Barbier was going to run deep. They made a similar mistake, and I don't think it was an intentional move by any stretch of the imagination, but Santos gave him a big old barge off the track there, managed to keep going himself, so that is us up into 10th position. Santos will be up into 9th. So we've made huge gains off our starting position. We've managed to keep relatively safe. We've only got 1x so far, and we're hitting the half distance point of this race. So just how many more positions can we make up? If you look ahead of us there on track heading into T1, we can see at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 cars that might be within reach if the racing continues to be this tight, and if we see more mistakes from drivers up ahead. Look at the 2 cars just up ahead of us. It looks like Santos and Trinidad going side by side here, again heading in the uphill left-hander. There's not room for 2 cars to go through there unless somebody makes a mistake, so Santos has had to drop back and just follow in Trinidad's wake as we head towards the end of another lap. But Trinidad's got it wrong. He's got it wrong, under braking. Oh, he's coming right the way back across the track. There's a tiny bit of contact, but thankfully we get by all right. Once again, I just had to have the courage to keep my foot in and hope that he was able to hold the car sufficiently. He ducks into the pits because clearly he's picked up damage there off his contact with the wall. We skip ahead another couple of laps, then we're about to hit the 10-minute mark, so just a third of this race left. We've managed to reel in Santos up ahead over the preceding couple of laps, as I'm now hoping to be able to squeeze my way up into 8th position, which would represent not a bad finish for us in this race if I was able to get up well into the top 10 here, having had such a bad qualifying. Very happy with how the race is going so far because we've been able to remain clean and consistent, and our pace has been pretty good. We're in the mid 43 seconds, but Santos really strangely peels off to the left hand side. I'm not sure if he thinks I'm the driver that he collided with earlier, or whether he had a slowdown penalty, but either way, he gives that position up and we are up into 8th position. Fast forward once again, a couple of more minutes. We've been able to get right on the back of the 3 drivers up ahead, thanks in no small part, I think, to the back marker who is running in between them. Now, I actually think the back marker is quicker than Konya, who is up in 6th position, and that's what's causing the slight difficulty here in terms of track position, because he's, in a sense, being held up. He's not able to unlap himself, but it's slowing all 3 cars down here, as you can see from Rivero, the car directly up ahead of us in the Hyundai. He himself now can't get past the lap driver, but it looks to me as if Konya, at the lead of this pack of 3 cars, is the cork in the bottle. We are now about to get stuck behind Rivero in this final part of the lap, and that might give Santos a bit of impetus to take back the position that he gifted to us just a couple of laps earlier. And you can see he closes right in on us into the final corner, but I had nowhere to go. I had to get on the brakes slightly earlier because Rivero was slightly earlier on the brakes. Up ahead, you can see now that Konya has fallen behind the lap driver here, as the lap driver's down his inside. Is this going to be the moment then that he manages to get on past and unlap himself? No, he's ran in deep into the corner. This is a bit of a calamity here, as we're now bunched right up behind Rivero's rear wing. He had to get out of shape in order to avoid the lap driver. We might have an opportunity here. No, but we just think twice about sticking one down the inside and live to fight another day. I thought there might be half a chance down the inside of the Hyundai, but in the end that gap just looked like it was going to close. I wasn't close enough ultimately to get myself alongside as we round the final corner once again. Konya in 6th position, very wide on exit there. He's had a very poor exit. That's going to give Rivero half a chance heading down into T1. You can see he's shaping for a move, showing very early that he wants the inside line to this corner. It looked like they were on the brakes at identical times. Konya's ran it out wide. Rivero's going to have the inside line, but this will give Konya the inside line for the next right-hander. So Rivero's not going to be able to make that move stick. It's going to put him out of shape into the uphill left-hander. That gives us a chance to duck back underneath him, claim the apex, and that is a great overtaking move, which is going to put us up into 7th position with probably only 2 more laps left of this race. And we've got half a chance now of putting more pressure on Konya up ahead. He's locked up into the final corner. This might put us alongside him into T1 of the next lap. We get a decent exit, but it looks like we're not going to be quite side by side heading into the braking zone. So this is going to be a battle of who can brake later and who can get to the inside line. He comes right the way across to claim that apex. We think better than trying to hold it in case there was contact at this late stage of the race. Instead, we settle in behind and hope that I'm able to put a little bit more pressure on him and see a further mistake heading into some of the remaining corners of this race. He gets very sluggish exit there from that corner. We're going to attempt a move down the inside, but there really is not space through this kink, right and then left, so we have to back out of it. Otherwise there certainly would have been an accident. The white flag is raised for the final lap of this race. It has absolutely flown by. There is just not a moment to breathe at this Oran Park circuit. We're in 7th position, having had a terrible qualifying and started way back down the field, so this would represent a very good finish, but we might yet claim a top 6 position as we swing the car into T1 for one final time, closing right up onto the rear wing of Konya up ahead. Just got to feather the car through these corners here. The worst thing I could do is push too hard at this moment and get up onto the grass and then squander the progress we've made so far. Look at how close we are. We're going to be forced to the outside here for the right-left kink. There's no way through, and I'm not going to be close enough unless Konya makes a mistake into the final corner, which unfortunately doesn't. He hooks that up quite nicely actually. He's able to get on the gas. We might close in very small amount towards the end of this race, but unfortunately not enough, and we have to settle for 7th position. But wow, what a race. Let's take a look back then at that final bit of action as we managed to snatch 7th place from Rivero. You can see here Rivero down the inside of Konya, but unfortunately for him he couldn't make the move stick. And he's going to pay the price for not being able to do that through the next couple of corners. It gets him off the ideal racing line, sends him a little bit wide there. We are perfectly positioned to take advantage of it. We're dive down the inside. We're then on the apex up the hill, and look at that, he very nearly loses up another position to Igor Santos just behind us, but this time he's able to hold on. And then once again from the aerial view you'll just see here the implications of being slightly wide on one corner then puts him offline for the next. We duck back underneath, much in the same way that Santos had done to us earlier in the race, and luckily for Rivero he was just able to carry enough momentum to hold the corner from Santos that followed. Here then are the final classified results. Running in the background, that final lap footage of us chasing down Konya, but unfortunately we just weren't able to get up and alongside him and take one more position. But I am really pleased with that race. Qualifying was a disaster, but we definitely made the most of what was an action-packed touring car race here. Lots of mistakes up ahead of us, but we made a couple of really good passes. The racing around us was all clean and very enjoyable. I hope you've enjoyed the race. If you have, leave a like, get subscribed, and I will see you on the next one.